Hi everybody, Jessie here from jessiebanks.com and welcome back to another Inspire Me Monday for Power Poppy. If you're over on the Power Poppy blog watching this and you're looking for Kathy Rakusin, she'll be back next week. We had to swap. So I'm using this round watercolor pad of paper. They were kind of like flying all over the place and I bought a hot press one and a cold press one and I haven't used it, so I figured I'd use it now. I did pull out the In Praise of Sunflower stamp set and I'm just going to stamp it in the middle. Do you ever have a stamp set kicking around and you're like, I just want to color it. I don't necessarily want to put it on a card, but I really want to paint it. That's what this is. So I'm starting with an Escoda brush and I have quinacridone gold and sap green. I paint this whole card in, I do believe I only use 5 different colors in it, which for me is a relatively small color palette because I tend to mix a lot of things together. And I see my head still in the way. I will learn how to keep it out of the way one day. Today is not that day. I hope everybody's been doing well. I've been filming. Summer's coming to an end. School starts in a couple of weeks. We've got one more trip planned before school starts. Everything's been busy. So that's kind of where my life is. How is everybody else? So I'm starting off by adding this quinacridone gold into our leaves. Into our leaves and stems. This will just give all of the greenery a little bit of a glow and it'll feel a little more bright and lively. It's a color I like to add under probably all of the greenery I ever paint. It either goes underneath or mixed in with. I use a lot of quinacridone gold when it comes to things like that. I'm also adding it to the center of the flower here. At this point, I wasn't sure what color I was going to actually paint our sunflower, so I figured I'd just leave it for now. I end up going yellow anyway, but that's okay. Now we're coming back in and I'm going to start on our first layers of sap green. This is where I start to discover that I don't like this paper. I don't hate this paper, but I don't love this paper. It's definitely not something I would paint with all the time. I find the colors soak in really fast and don't move the way I'm used to with some of my other brands like my Arches or my Stonehenge or any of those papers. I use a whole lot more than something like this. This kind of is reminiscent of bee paper. If you really like bee paper and how it absorbs everything, it feels like doesn't have as much internal sizing to let things flow and move around on the paper. They just kind of soak in and that's where they stay. When it comes to adding texture like to the center of our sunflower and things, that really helps with that because you get a lot more prominent texture, but it's just not what I'm used to. So I kind of had to play around and adjust how I painted and how far I could go before I had to blend things out or it was going to stay where it was and I wasn't going to be able to accomplish what I wanted to accomplish. And yeah, but in the end, I'm super happy with the way it turned out, so I guess that's a bonus. Now I'm just deepening up some of our green and going back in with that. I do like to paint in glazes. If you've watched me watercolor for any sort of time, I work in layers. I glaze colors over top of each other to accomplish what I'm after. I don't tend to mix a whole lot on the palette. I tend to layer my colors on the paper and let them glow through each other. And that's how I achieve a lot of my depth and my different colors and things in the watercolor paper is just by glazing. Hence why I really enjoy transparent watercolors. So we're just going to continue on deepening up all of our greens as we go through this. That little dish to the side there is from Dollarama. Here in Canada, I picked them up. They're like in a set of 4. I think they're actually for dip, but they're ceramic and they work perfect when I'm using small palettes like this. This is where I decided that the flower is going to be yellow. I was like, I just kind of want to go natural, use a few colors instead of busting out a whole ton. So I'm starting off again with the quinacridone gold and just putting that into all of our petals here, leaving a fair bit of white space and blending it out so it's got a glow, but not painting it all in completely. I will have the stamp set, the colors, the paper, all of that stuff listed in the description box below if you're interested in that. Just expand it. It'll all be down there, including all of my social medias, Power Poppy blog, all that kind of fun stuff. It'll all be down there if you're after any of that. If you aren't subscribed and you do enjoy my videos, though, I'm going to throw this in the middle instead of the end. I would love it if you guys would subscribe to the channel. It helps me out a ton. Thumbs up also do wonderful things in order to get my videos to other people to see if it's something that they're interested in, if you guys enjoyed it. So we're just working our way around the flower here, and I'm going to fill them all in with this yellow. This card took me about an hour-ish to complete. I have sped everything up to 3 times the original speed. So as much as I wish I could paint this fast, I definitely don't paint this fast. It would be terrific if I could, though. Wouldn't that be awesome? I think it would be great, but it's just not a reality. It takes a lot more time than that. getting all the way through this sunflower. There's a digital version of this sunflower if you don't have the clear stamp. I have done the digital version in probably every medium I have. I've really enjoyed it. I've painted it in pinks and teals and yellows and oranges and all sorts of different colors. I just think it's a really beautiful stamp, and it's just a super fun one to play with. Of course, the clear stamp is the smaller size and you can't readjust it, but I really enjoy having clear stamps because you can emboss them and stamp them in different colors and manipulate pieces, and I just find it's fun too. They both kind of have their benefit for me. So now I'm coming in with some hematite, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, burnt scarlet genuine. So this has like a little bit of a pinky undertone. I do come in with just the hematite genuine as well, but I'm going to start by adding that to our centerpiece here. And this is where the fact that these colors soak into this paper so fast really comes into handy, because I'm trying to add that texture to the center of that flower, and with it soaking in as fast as it does, it makes it super easy to achieve that, and I don't have to fight and hope that colors don't bleed and blend out, because they basically stay exactly where I put them. I'm adding a little bit of it to the stem and the leaves just to give them a little bit more depth. I will glaze some more green over top of it. I just find that it adds that depth without kind of changing the color, and I didn't want to bring in another color like a black or a charcoal or anything like that. I just wanted to use kind of the colors as I was picking them and not add too many. So you can see how that leaf kind of jumps up and becomes a little more vivid than the other ones once you add a little more shading to it with that dark brown. So now we're going to go through and do that to all of the other leaves. It's just a slow process. I do always make sure all of my layers are dry in between. I either take a heat gun to them, or in this case, I was making soup and bread and stuff upstairs. So I would just paint some and go upstairs and do some stuff and then come back down and just kind of work back and forth. There is a couple points where you'll see me pull out the heat gun to make sure everything is dry and to help dry things nearer to the end and just make sure everything's the way I want it to be. But for the most part, I let it dry naturally. This is Nickel Azo Yellow. This is PY150. This is my favorite pigment of all time. I absolutely adore this color. It can get to be like a darker yellow. It's almost kind of like a mustard flower in the field color, but when you wash it out, it just kind of gets a really beautiful glow to it. This color is used in the new mixes of Quinacridone Gold if you don't have any of the PO49 left in your stash. I do. I use that one. I don't have any of the mixed tube to compare it to, and being as I have a few tubes of the original PO49 in my stash, I haven't felt the need to pick up any of the new versions to try and see if they compare. Maybe I should do that. I don't know if anybody would be interested in a comparison of those two colors to see how they react in mixing and things, and if they make any sort of difference in the way I paint and how things turn out. If that is something you'd be interested in, I'd love for you to leave me a message down below and let me know, and I can definitely pick that up. If you hear any noise in the background, I'm sorry, but until like February of next year, they are building a new lift station across the street, and there are like backhoes and all sorts of equipment and men, and they're just loud. But that's okay, because the town needs it, and I'm all right with that. But if you guys hear any of that noise, that's all that is. So I'm adding a little bit more of the yellow and then some more of that burnt scarlet to the center of our flower here. I just decided it needed to jump up a little bit more. I'm going to add a little bit of it to the bottom of this partially opened sunflower and a little bit of green. I like to do that on new buds just so they feel like they're just starting to open. Now I pull out the original hematite brown, and I'm going to mix it up, and I'm going to add some of that burnt scarlet genuine to it as well. So they're the same pigments, they're just treated differently. I do like how inky this one is and how much it granulates, but adding the burnt scarlet genuine to it just gives it a little bit more of a depth. And then we're just going to start painting that around the outside, and I'm just going to mess it up and kind of, that's me checking to make sure I like the way the color actually looks. And we're just going to continue to splash that all around. I hope everybody has had a fantastic summer. My summer has been insanely busy. I've been camping and running around with my son and doing lots of things with him. My fiance's son moved into the house. He's going to fire school to become a firefighter, so that's super awesome for him. but it's another mouth in the house and more laundry to do and all that kind of jazz. Yes, he can do his own clothes, but it's really way easier if I just do it when I'm doing mine and my son's and my fiance's, because otherwise I have to wait for the washing machine. So I just do it because I can. I decided I needed a bigger brush here, so I went and pulled out a bigger brush to use just so I could get it a little bit smoother. And we're going to keep blending those all the way around the outside of this little circle. So I hope everybody plays with some paints or some colors and colors up some stamps you've had in your stash for a while and haven't used or anything like that. I just think it's super fun to pull things out. Like, I've had this stamp set for probably a couple of years. I'm going to say a long time. I've never stamped it. So it was super fun to stamp it out and use it instead of the digital version for a change. So now we're getting that all nice and dry, and then I'm going to add some splatters to it. So I'm going to start with the green, and I dry them in between the different colors I put on. And that's simply so that if the yellow hits the green, they don't blend together. I want them to kind of layer on top of each other. So once that's all dry, we will add some of the Nicolazzo yellow, I do believe is the one I grab. I'm not 100% sure. But I grab one of the yellows. And we'll add that one to the top. And dry it. And a little bit of the hematite burnt, or the hematite combination color there that I mixed together. So like I said, all of the links to everything will be in the description box below if you're interested in any of that. Some of it's affiliate links, some of it's not. If you guys purchase through those links, I'd truly appreciate it. All of that money goes back into the channel. It goes into things like microphones, cameras, lenses, stamps, mediums you guys want to see, stuff like that. None of it really sticks in my pocket. I spend more than I make. Trust me, because the accountant keeps telling me I need to quit and I don't listen. But that's okay. So I hope everybody has a wonderful day. Paint something beautiful, and I will see you all very soon in the next video. Bye for now.